When Panasonic came to me and asked if I wanted to test and review the new S-series cameras, I kind of jumped at the chance, but I wanted to do something a little bit different this time. I wanted to use the cameras in a real world situation. I'm a commercial photographer based in Auckland, New Zealand. I work around New Zealand and I work in Asia, but mostly in Taiwan. I work within the sports industry, mainly bicycles. To be truthful, I shoot a lot of bicycles and anything to do with bicycles. Over the last few years, I've been working on a project at the Taipei Cycle Show, and the S1R gave me an opportunity to make that happen. Now, most people actually think their bicycle components and frames are made by robots and machines, but they're not. They're made by real human beings. The concept of the project is to take portraits of the workers in the factories. Now, the biggest problem with the factories is they're a busy place, they're not very well lit, and there's a lot of artificial light. And I couldn't use my Elinchrom EBL500s at a high power setting because the actual flash was disturbing the other workers, and a lot of them work with their hands within the machinery. So the idea was to shoot at 1.4, get a nice shallow depth field, but just have a little bit of fill flash from the EBL500. The S1R was set up with single point focus with focus peak and assist, which basically what that means is I have a single point of focus, and then when I focus and lock on, it punches in and it gives me focus peaking as well, which is great. Never seen that on another camera. I did also try the eye tracking, which works really well. So basically on the back of the camera, you have the jog dial. So you tap that and it will switch the eyes, which is really good. Didn't really get on with that very well because I'm not used to it. This is a brand new camera. Basically, I'd only had it for a day and I started shooting with it. So I went back to how I normally shoot with my Nikons, which is single point focus. Another great feature with the S-series cameras is they have constant preview. Now, other Panasonic cameras have this, but in this camera with this EVF, which is 5.7 million dots, it's like a whole new world. It is amazing quality that you can see. And also, when you review the image in the EVF, you can punch in and it's pin sharp. It's really like looking at the real world. It's an amazing EVF on here. I don't think you can describe the EVF to anybody. They have to try it. And when they try it, they will see how good it is. It's unbelievable. It's a great EVF. I think the highest resolution EVF before this was on the Leica SL, and this is way better. This is an incredibly good EVF. Let's talk about this, the 50mm lens. Now, this is a Lumix S Pro lens. This is a 50mm 1.4. Now, I've used a lot of 50mm lenses in my time, and my favorite lens has to be the Zeiss Otis 55mm 1.4. It's probably the sharpest lens out there at 1.4, and the way it renders images is just amazing, but it is manual focus. This lens is outstanding at 1.4. I cannot believe how sharp this lens is, and it's full autofocus, which the Zeiss is not. And the way it renders images is quite special. It reminds me a little bit of my Leica lenses. It's got that nice contrasty punch to it, but I think it's better actually. I hate to say it. This is a phenomenal lens. I have not seen a lens this sharp at 1.4. And with the actual single point focus peak and assist, it makes it much easier to nail the shot and especially get the eyes in focus. So let's talk about something I wasn't happy with the lens. It did struggle a little bit in low light. It didn't want to lock on and it was missing focus. So I had to use the modeling light on the Elinchrom EBL500, which was fine because it's a 20-watt LED light and it worked fine. And as soon as I turned it on, it focused and it locked on straight away. But it was a little bit annoying when it kept hunting all the time. And it wasn't seriously low light, but then again, it could be a firmware issue because I'm running a very, very early firmware. So hopefully they will fix that in the new firmware. Let's talk about the camera. This is not a small camera. This is quite big for a mirrorless camera, but it's incredibly comfortable, very well balanced, and all the buttons are in the right places. Panasonic have done a lot of work with this, and they've obviously reached out to a lot of photographers and asked them what they want. And it works really well. It's very comfortable. I had no issues with it, and I was shooting all day long. It is an incredibly good camera. The on and off switch, it's in the most strangest place in the world. I've never seen a switch like that before, and in that place. Most cameras have them at the back, or they have them at the front, like Nikon's and the G9. The Lumix G9 has a switch at the front, but they didn't put that on here. They put it here. It's like, I don't know, it's like a really old style switch, like a power switch to a big power meter. But hey, it works, it's fine, but it's just in a very odd place. It's in a bizarre place. It has backlit buttons all the way around here, not at the top, which is very handy, and they're very bright. They work really well. And it also has a night mode where it actually turns the screen red. It has 2 memory card slots, which is really important to me because when I'm doing a job like this, I don't want to be let down by a failed memory card. And it's always nice to have that in the back of your mind. You know you've got the backup in the camera. Not always a necessity, but it's nice to know you've got it. Now, before I share any images with you, I want to say a big thank you to Locke. Now, he was actually in Taiwan with me testing the S1 for its video functions, and he did all the behind the scenes footage for me. So all the footage you've seen in the factory was shot by Locke. Now, if you want to know more about the video functions of the S1, head over to his channel and he will have a full review video on the S1 because he was using it for a few days and he actually took it back to Hong Kong to review. So please check out his channel. I'd also like to say thank you to Panasonic New Zealand for letting me take this camera to Taiwan and test it out there. That's a lot of trust in me, and thank you so much for that. Also, ProGear, which is my local camera store in Auckland. They're actually the Elinchrom distributor, and they helped me set up the system and make sure that the el-skyport worked perfectly fine on this camera, and I had all the equipment that I needed before I went to Taiwan. So thank you guys very much. You're very helpful. So if you're looking for any camera gear, or especially Elinchrom lights, head over to their website. There'll be a link down below. One more thank you, and that's to Tiffany. She was my personal assistant. She made sure everything was running smooth. She carried my gear as well. She was absolutely amazing. So thank you, Tiffany, for that. I really appreciate it. So all of the photos you're about to see are direct out of the camera JPEGs from the S1R with the 50mm lens shot at 1.4. I haven't edited them in any way. You will see a full-size image, and then you will see 100% crop. So you can actually see how sharp the lens is. Now, remember to subscribe to my channel because there will be more videos coming soon, and I will actually be doing a full review on this camera when I get more time with it over the next few weeks. And I will also be testing the full lens range, and I'll also be testing the S1, and I'll also be doing a high-res mode video on this as well because I've actually tested it in Taiwan and it completely blew me away. So as always, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you again soon.
From Taipei.
That's it.
That's it.
BMW for 2 reflectors.
Yep. Hang on.
Why does it say let me do your dishes on the bag?
These are my reflectors, aren't they? Hang on. They look like reflectors. Yeah, they're my reflectors.